Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I'll have guests on to talk about the thread, the third phase of it, and also I'm on the new public director from the City of LaGrange. So stay tuned for those interviews in just a moment. Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm being joined by two ladies who have been on the show in the past, and they're doing an exceptional job in our community, really threading us together. I have the executive director close to me, Natalie Hale, and the senior planner from the City of LaGrange, Lee Threadgill. Ladies, welcome to the show once again.
Well, thank you, Alton.
Thanks, Alton.
Well, you know, ladies, things are really moving, and you ladies are the ones that are kind of out there, and I've seen y'all come in your boots and your gloves and your hard hats and things, and just really got things going on with the thread, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Natalie, if you don't mind, you're the executive director. Tell us a little bit about how things are progressing with the thread, if you don't mind.
Well, we just had our ribbon cutting for phase 2 of the thread on April 21st. It was a huge success. We had probably close to 300 people over at Eastside Park at we had our first 5K on the thread.
Okay.
We had close to 100 runners, and we also had a cutest dog contest. We had 44 entrants to that. It was really a great day and a great way to showcase our second phase of the thread.
Absolutely. And Lee, you have been very instrumental in working alongside with Natalie, and like I say, with your boots and your hard hats and getting out there. Talk about your experience, and talk about what it meant for you as a city planner to see this come to fruition.
Well, I think that this is a project that we've talked about before that has the ability to really transform our community. And so from a planning standpoint, it's just an exciting thing to be involved with because it has so many different benefits to us, whether it's connections for people and places, obviously health and wellness, but also economic development. We see that a lot of trail systems end up spurring economic development along them, and so we're really looking forward to having some of that come online. And it's gone exactly how we wanted it to. We went through a planning process. We had a master plan adopted. We had a lot of community engagement through that process. And we've had some very active citizens involved that have really taken this and owned it and carried that ball forward. And so it's been a great partnership between the city and the citizens to create this wonderful amenity for our community.
Very good. And, you know, talking about economic development, we're looking forward to some of those things popping up along the route. And you talked about the ribbon cutting there that took place on the 21st. Talk about that, the east side area. Talk about the layout of it and how it connected to an already established trail there, if you don't mind. And I'll start with you, Lee, if you don't mind.
Sure. Well, this segment is really exciting because it is it represents a longer segment than what we had already on the ground because of that existing asphalt trail at George Harris and First Tee. So we've got about 2.1 miles out of this one, 1.6 miles of new construction, and connecting to about a half mile of existing trail. And what was great about it is we started, you know, when we looked at the plan, it was kind of the high level theory behind trail systems is you connect your park spaces, your green spaces. So in this particular route, you've got connection from Mike Daniel to George Harris, to Shuford, over to Eastside Park. Obviously Active Life is right there at the corner of Raglan and Calumet Center. So you've got a lot of different amenities that were strung together with this particular segment. So that's wonderful to have all of those amenities that are then connected through this other amenity. So we're really excited about that. And it's also resulted in a master planning process for Eastside Park. So that's a park that we're taking a fresh look at it, and we're going to hopefully see some improvements there very near term to just upgrade it, give it some beautification, and hopefully add some new amenities to the area.
Very good. You know, you're talking about the Eastside Park. I remember that location from when I was a kid over there playing basketball, and we do have some exciting news that will be perhaps unveiled later on about the Eastside Park, some things that are planned there, and definitely want to have you come back on, Lee, and talk about that. Now, and I've walked the Eastside Trail, the thread there, and I'm like, oh my God, it is
beautiful.
It's a beautiful area and everything. And if you haven't been out on it, definitely get out there and walk that thread. And it was a 22nd, had a lot of people there. And this is really and truly has kind of transformed, as you stated, Lee, the community, and we're now looking at unveiling the third phase of this. Now, we'll talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Phase 3 really is under construction now, unofficially. It's going from connecting to phase 1 at West Harrelson, going up to the corner there and turning right up North Greenwood, and then going down Broad.
Okay.
And then it'll connect to the roundabout and go down Panther Way. But you'll notice right now we're already in the process of burying the utilities along Broad from Springdale down to the roundabout. So that's due to the thread. So our official groundbreaking is going to be May 21st.
Very good.
So we're really excited about it.
Okay. Let me get in, Lee and Natalie, you get ladies, like I say, put a lot of work in it. How intense, Lee, is this from a planning standpoint to get all this together and make sure that those connection points, get us the loop and the thread that we want on the ground?
Well, when you have to start with a roadmap, and we did that. So we hired, I think, one of the premier trail building consultants in the Southeast, the Path Foundation, and have worked very closely with them and still do. So they were part of the development of the master plan that was really an implementation plan too. So we didn't just have a map that we were going to go by, but we also had a strategy for how we were going to do that. We identified priority segments, and we knew kind of in the beginning how we wanted to approach implementation, which was really helpful. The Path Foundation has a lot of expertise, and we have leaned on that through the project. So we continue to talk to them about small adjustments to the route. As things change in the community, it may have influences on where the route should be. For instance, we're already thinking through segment 4 and looking at tweaking that a little bit. It is very intense. There are a lot of properties that you go alongside or even through. It's working with property owners and neighborhoods and other interested parties in an area to make sure that what the trail does benefits everyone. So obviously we have an interest in how it's going to benefit the community, but we want to make sure that our citizens that we touch are okay with everything that we're doing as well. So there's a lot of engagement, and Natalie's been really instrumental in reaching out to a lot of those folks that either live along the trail or have businesses there, working with them and alongside them to achieve the best outcome.
Very good. And talking about, because as the east side area, it comes through some residential, unlike the first phase of it, more or less kind of what we call the old kudzu path and connected to the track over at Granger. This one actually came through a community. Talk about how the residents have received the thread, Natalie, if you don't mind, coming along their property.
They are all excited. I went door to door actually before the ribbon cutting. I went door to door and invited everybody to our event, and they were all so excited. Some didn't know about it still, but we had a great turnout they showed up on the ribbon cutting day. I mean, they really were enthusiastic. A lot of them had gone to school at East Depot years ago and were so excited to have the connection back over that way with the bridge that we just put in. So they were very excited to have the amenity over there.
Absolutely. You're talking about bridge. We went out to see the setting of the bridge, and if you haven't been out, again, we truly invite you to go out and walk the second phase of the thread there that winds through Eastside Park. And talking about, some people don't know about the thread and what's going on in our community. There's a way that they can get to know a little bit more about it. That's through you, Natalie, and Friends of the Thread. Talk about that if you don't mind.
We have a website. It's thethreadtrail.org, and you can go on there and become a friend of the thread, donate to our cause, and see what else we have. We have the master plans on there, the map. You can see where the thread is going to go, and all of our events are on there also. We're about to have a big event in August 18th of 2018 is our Dancing for the Thread event. Okay. It's going to be at Delavine. It's going to be a great event for the thread. Okay,
very good. And Lee and you ladies both have been involved in this, and this is a little bit more than just kind of putting concrete on the ground, doing the various things of that nature. So it's a little bit more intense. And as you talked about a moment ago, Lee, about the expertise of the foundation that you're working with, this is also a costly expense. Talk a little bit about how this is being paid for, if you don't mind.
Well, so we had budgeted for the first 2 segments with the previous SPLOST, and we obviously just had a SPLOST vote in November that was the biggest success that it has been so far. The margin of victory was the highest. It was, some said 71, some said 72% of the voters turned out in favor of our SPLOST, which was really exciting, and the thread was a huge part of that campaign. It was a project that everybody felt like the community was already on board with and would help really sell that SPLOST, and so I think that that was true. I think that it achieved that. So most of the first 5 years of implementation, I'll say, there are about 13 miles of trail that we've identified in these first 5 years. There's a 29-mile trail system, so there's more to build after this first 5 years. But we've got funding to pretty much cover, we think, this first 5 years with the SPLOST passage. Now, we've also had some grant funding. Granger was funded in part by a Recreational Trails Program grant, and we are currently thinking that we will be awarded a $200,000 grant for the Recreational Trails Program this year. We've already been through the first round of that and vetted through the state, and we were passed on. So out of 51 communities that submitted, 19 were identified, and basically now we're just trying to meet all the sort of the hoops and the hurdles that they have for us, but the selling of the project has already happened, and they've endorsed it. So we're really excited about that. That's some gap funding, I'll call it, that will help us kind of fill in where we need to. But we're so thankful to the community for turning out for that SPLOST vote, because that was critical for the project to continue.
Absolutely. And you know, you talk about the SPLOST vote, and you mentioned earlier in your conversation about the life, you know, just the health and wellness of the thread. And again, we have to realize and mention that it's a non-motorized thread. Now I want to go back to you talking about the Friends of the Thread, and if there was someone that was watching and they hadn't had an opportunity to give, is there an opportunity for them to make donations to Friends of the Thread?
There is. If you go on the website, thethreadtrail.org, there's a place where you can become a member at different sponsorship levels and donor levels, and give back to us.
Give to us, absolutely. And, you know, again, you know, the thread is really kind of weeding through our community, binding us together, as you talked about the East Side Park and the old East Depot High School there, and of course the second of the second phase, and the third phase is going to come up through Broad Street area. And I know that we have just a little bit of construction going on, so we asked the citizens be patient with us. It's all for a very good cause. And these ladies are here to talk about that, and thank you ladies so much for what you're doing and bringing the community together with the thread. Any closing comments, Lee?
Well, really excited about the LaGrange College Connection. I think it's going to be a really wonderful project for Broad Street, and it is a linear park, and that's how we like to qualify what we're doing. That is a term that I like to use, because it's not just about creating a larger sidewalk. It is, in fact, an amenity that has beautification that happens alongside it. There's a landscape component to it, a streetscape component to it, and when we come through green spaces, we end up adding amenities and little pocket parks. So it has the ability to really transform an area. So we're really excited about it.
Absolutely. Well, ladies, I want to thank both of you all for coming on the show again and sharing this information. And always, I just got to reiterate, if you have not been out to it, get out there. You will be surprised. Ladies, thank you both for being on the show today, okay?
Thanks, Alton.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Week in just a moment.
I'm LaGrange Mayor Jim Thornton. And I'm Patrick Cruz, Chairman of the Troup County Board of Commissioners. And we've got a question for you. Have you ever littered?
No. Sometimes. I see my dad litter. It's something which you just throw on the floor, and you don't. You just throw things on the floor, and when you don't need to. I just don't like putting it in the trash can sometimes, but sometimes I do put them in the trash can. Don't do that. Just a piece of trash on our yard, and I don't like people that litter. He just threw the gun out the window. Cheap, beautiful. If you are littering people, stop littering right now. Don't litter. And you're a grown-up, you should know that. Cheap, troop, beautiful.
Littering in Troup County is not a small problem. It's a big one, and we need everyone to do their part.
The City of LaGrange, along with Troup County and the cities of Hogansville and West Point, want to clean up our community.
So please don't trash Troup.
Let's pick it up. Working together, we can keep Troup County a beautiful place to live.
Welcome back to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Now I am being joined by the new Public Service Director for the City of LaGrange, Deon Sin. Deon, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Deon, you know, our ties go way back. I'm going to tell my age here. I just know you when you were a smaller fella in stature, not in, size-wise, that is. But our ties go way back to days of DARE.
Yes, sir.
When you were one of my DARE role models and still a role model in our community today. But Deon, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. I started with the City of LaGrange in 1997. Started out in the sewer division as just a PSA, which is our ground level position. And I worked my way through the ranks there, you know, eventually to supervisor, backhoe, and then into a foreman position. And I stayed in that position for approximately 10 years before transferring to City Hall, where I moved into the engineering division and worked my way through the ranks there, which ultimately led to the, you know, my current promotion to Public Works Director.
Absolutely. You know, I like to say you're one of those homegrown boys right here in our community. And you know, Deon, I've watched you, like I say, from the days of DARE, being a role model for us to being a good role model to the men and women that you work with throughout the City of LaGrange. Let me ask you, what do you think has really helped you to get to the position that you are in today?
I think starting in the bottom, I took a different approach coming out of high school. A lot of my friends in high school, you know, went straight off to college, and my goal was to have the job that I have now, but have a little different insight as to, you know, not necessarily be able to tell somebody how it was done, but to know how to do it as well. So working through the ranks from the bottom up, it gave me a lot of insight of how it needs to be done and the way that it needs to be done and ways that we can improve it from seeing, you know, the whole process from start to finish. And I think also, you know, now looking back on it, it gives the guys, it gives me a lot of respect from the guys because they know where I come from and, you know, I've been there and done that. So it really helps in that, but it helps me understand what their, you know, their background to me is, you know, when they tell me something won't work, then I can relate to it. So
absolutely. You know, around City Hall, I call you the MacGyver because I feel like you can take just about anything and work on it a little bit, and next thing you know it's running or whatever. And I heard you mention about backhoe operator, and I know that you worn a number of hats in your capacity of coming along. Talk a little bit about that because you say that has really helped you. Backhoe driver, talk about some of the other things you perhaps have done.
Yes, like I said, I ran the backhoe for several years in the sewer division. I manage our street lights, so I go out and program all our street lights around town, work on the timing of those. And the city has something called SCADA, and it stands for Supervisory Controlled Data Acquisition. And that controls all our water tanks, pump stations, power circuit breakers, and we control those remotely. Several years ago, that system was aging. I went in and rebuilt the entire system, reprogrammed, went to each one of the stations, and gave that system a facelift. And Patrick Bowie was very instrumental. He built the first system and trained me, and then gave me the opportunity to build the second system. So that gives us the opportunity to control the water tanks and all remotely. We control them via iPad. So it's a really nice system. And then, you know, you're liable to see me anywhere around town. I'm over the garage as well. So you know, I help the guys over there work on stuff when they get behind, and I'm a real hands-on person. I like to, you know, get down in the weeds and, you know, show my guys that I'm willing to do what we need to do to get it done. And so it's, but I enjoy it. You know, that's one thing I really enjoy about the city is the diversity of being able to do so many different jobs.
Absolutely. You know, Deon, much like yourself, I have kind of worn and been in a number of capacities here with the City of LaGrange, and you're right. You know, this is a great place. I'm going to get to that in a moment. It's a great place to work. And one of the things that I think you and I both have benefited from is that the continuing education. I, like yourself, was able and afforded the opportunity to go back and receive my master's degree from the City of LaGrange. And in 2005, you received your degree from LaGrange College. Talk about that, if you don't mind.
Yes, I was just explaining to someone the other day. They were asking me about my career with LaGrange, and You know, if I was born in LaGrange, and I told them, I said, well, as far as being a LaGrange person, I'm probably LaGrange through and through. I was born in LaGrange. I went to LaGrange High. My first job was the City of LaGrange. I went to LaGrange College. So, you know, everything's been
just LaGrange all over,
deep
right?
roots here. Yes, sir. But my LaGrange College, I received a degree in business management and a minor in human resources. And that's one thing that really allowed me to take on my current role as public works director. You know, having that background, and that's something that, you know, the city really promoted with me and worked with me to extend my education, you know, to give me this opportunity that I have now. And then, like I say, the city is really, really good about working with the employees, giving them opportunities to continue their education. You know, we help all our employees get their CDL license. A lot of our employees have either Georgia wastewater or Georgia water certification, and we send them to school to, you know, get those certificates. All our guys in the shop, you know, go to various classes to become ASE certified, diesel certified. Our record drivers, you know, go to a class to how to work wrecks, and, you know, so the city offers a lot of opportunities for people to extend their education and, you know, take these skills to the next level.
Absolutely. You know, you're talking about that. I can remember going to receive my master's, and it's so convenient because the instructor at the time, I received mine through Columbus State. The instructor came to the City of LaGrange and was, you know, over a Wednesday night for like 4 hours. And I was like, I couldn't believe that more people weren't taking advantage of that. And like I say, you, like myself, did take advantage of that. And it's helped you and I both, I think, in the capacity that we serve in now. And I want to talk a little bit about your role as the Public Service Director. And I know that you're kind of still on the honeymoon stage right now.
Yes, sir.
What are some things that we can expect differently from the public service area?
One thing I set several goals, is one being the streets in LaGrange. Make sure that we have those, you know, we provide the level of service that we want to, that our customers expect. You know, we want those roads to be smooth, you know, eliminate as many of the potholes, conditions around town. And it's hard with all the streets that we have to get to all of them as far as repaving them. But sometimes just minor repairs, patching potholes, fixing, you know, manholes that maybe have settled, and getting those up to standard and keeping them that way. Second would be our sanitation services. I know we get several complaints, you know, during the week about missed calls, or we miss the limb. Sometimes the residents may not have the can out when we come by, or, you know, our drivers may miss one from time to time. But improve on that service, so, you know, we don't have those, and like I said, we can step up that level of service that we provide to our customers. And then third, but definitely not least, is our sewer system. It was put in the, you know, some of it early 1900s, and it's kind of one of those things that's out of sight, out of mind. But LaGrange, with all the growth that we're experiencing, we need to work on that system and upgrade it, rehab it, and get it in, you know, get it a little more modern to allow for more growth, and potentially expand it into some areas that are not sewered as well.
All right. And you know, those are very, I'm sure, that important points to our viewing audience too. You started out talking about streets, just the common and just the, you know, quick attention to those things that are, you know, I guess, hazard to our driving citizens of LaGrange. And you know, and it's helpful to people to understand and realize that a lot of the streets or the main quarters through our areas are state routes.
Yes.
How do we deal with that, you know, from our servicing abilities?
We have a very good relationship with the Georgia Department of Transportation. They have recently gone through some changes here at our local office, and have a new area engineer. And we've met with him and talked with him. He's on board with working with the city. Their resources are very limited here in LaGrange. So we've talked to them, and hopefully we can work out something where, you know, we can, if they have a pothole or something, then, you know, if we can send them a piece of equipment to help out to get that repaired, then it, you know, it benefits all the citizens as well.
That's right.
Because sometimes with their equipment being located in Thomaston, where their main office is, you know, it may be a week or so before they get anything over here to fix it. So when we have equipment sitting on the yard, if we can lend them a hand to get that done, then, you know, we're definitely willing to do that. So.
Absolutely. And you know, we see, we had Lee and Natalie on just a moment ago, and we do see that there's some construction going on right now on Broad Street. And if you had one just word of caution to our drivers in the community, what would that be when they see construction going on?
Yes, sir. The main thing I would say would, you know, be cautious, slow down in these areas. It's a construction zone. The guys are working really hard to try to get it done in a timely manner. And, you know, often they're working very close to traffic, and the drivers get distracted, the workers get distracted. But I try to tell everybody, you know, that could be your husband there, and you want him to come home every evening, just like the family members of our city workers. So just slow down, you know, don't text and drive, pay attention going through the construction zones, and really watch them. They're here to help you. What they're doing is to benefit the citizens of LaGrange. And, you know, if we can get the citizens to just, you know, be cautious in those areas. I understand it, you know, it delays them and the detours and everything, but once we get it all said and done, it's going to be a major improvement for LaGrange.
Absolutely. Dean, we know that you're going to do a remarkable job. And just in the event that there was a viewer that was watching, they had a question they wanted to ask you, especially I'm sure when they say, oh yeah, my street, it has been this way for such a long time. Is there an office number that you can give them they can reach out to you?
Yes, sir. They can reach me at 706-883-2010, and that's our main City Hall office. Sometimes I'm out in the field with the guys, so if they would just call there. If I'm in the office, I'll be glad to take the call. If not, one of the secretaries will, you know, leave me a message and I will return the call.
Okay, well, very good. Well, Deon, I know that you're going to do a great job. We've seen you already been doing such a wonderful job with the City of LaGrange, and we're very fortunate to have you on our team, and we look forward for many years of service from you as we have in the past.
Yes, sir.
So thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Week in just a moment.
What can you recycle? Does the city recycle plastic? Yes, the city recycles plastic. We accept bottles, containers, and jugs. Please rinse and clean them. Because if you don't, they're considered contaminated. And contaminated items are thrown away. Plastic bags are not accepted. No grocery bags, no dry cleaning bags, and no trash bags. Does the city recycle tin and aluminum? Yes, the city recycles those items. But all items must be rinsed and cleaned.
Don't put these items in plastic bags.
Because if they're not clean, they're contaminated. And all contaminated items are thrown away.
Does the city recycle cardboard, newspapers, or magazines?
Yes, the city accepts these items.
Cardboard boxes need to be broken down.
And packing materials must be removed.
If the cardboard isn't broken down, it's contaminated.
And those items are thrown away.
If the items are too big, place it by the bin.
Did you know that 30% of our curbside recycling is contaminated and thrown away?
Please help our community and our environment and recycle smart.
Please help.
Recycle is smart.
Recycle smart! Recycle smart! Recycle smart!
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining for City Week this week. My guests have been from the Friends of the Thread, the Executive Director, Natalie Hale, along with the City Planner planner, Lee Threadgill, as they talked about the third phase of the thread that will be taking place and being getting under construction starting May the 21st. Also, I had from the City of LaGrange, the new Public Services Director, Dion Sen, as he talked about the important things that he's focusing on bringing to the city: streets, sanitation, and also the sewer infrastructure. By all means, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions for our new director, give him a call down at the number that he gave and provided. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed these interviews, and as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.